Hello and welcome to this edition of Scott and Pop Talk Baseball. How's everything going there, Dad?
Well, I'm a little tired. It's been a hectic morning. Your stepmom's had the intestinal virus since about 4:30 this morning, so
Yep.
it's been kind of exciting around here. I've had to do a lot of cleanup.
Right.
But, yeah, she's better. She's a little better now. She just hadn't eaten anything. She's in the recliner, just sitting there. And I was watching two women's basketball games, and I know the Super Bowl's on today, but I was watching the best athlete in the country, Caitlin Clark, the guard for Iowa.
I was getting ready to say, see you wearing all the Iowa stuff. She
Oh,
broke
that girl. Well,
she broke the
she's
scoring record for the school this year, and
yes, and she just before halftime, she had a 1,000th assist.
yeah,
1,000 assists. Because she's not scoring a lot today because they're double teaming her and that. And I mean, she's just throwing the ball all over the place in behind her back and all that, inside. And then it went to halftime. So then I flipped on. You called me and I was watching Notre Dame and Florida State women. They were going into their second overtime. So I just like women's basketball. I like women's basketball, and I like to watch the women's softball when they go in the World Series. I enjoy that a lot.
now is that open this weekend at Waste Management for golf? Because I know you
Yes,
watch a lot of golf
yeah, but they've had
issues.
yes. Today is the warmest day so far, and it's 51.
Right.
They delayed 90 minutes yesterday morning because they had frost on the greens. This is in Arizona.
Right.
They
Well,
said they'd never seen weather
did
like
you
that.
did you see the hole in one on the what do they call it, it's the 16th hole where it
No, I did not.
complete. I don't know how long that delayed, but when he hit the hole in one, everybody started throwing their beers and
And they did. They
everything.
started that last year.
That went nuts. Well, they said it had 500,000 people there
Yes,
yesterday.
they had 500,000 people.
They said
They
it
had
was
to
so
stop.
bad that the people at the gate stopped taking tickets because they couldn't
They couldn't get any
control.
more people in, and they had to stop liquor sales.
Well, and
Alcohol because
they ended
people
up stopping selling everything because they wanted people to leave
because
because they
there's
couldn't
getting, they were
control it.
getting fights and stuff like that. So
Yeah, that because they said people they couldn't control where everybody was going, and it was just a big party.
well, that's what that tournament is. That's
Yeah.
why some golfers back out because they don't like that atmosphere, and
Well,
that's
the
fine.
only one I saw that I like somebody flashed up a name because they said it wasn't, but I saw what's his name, Spide,
So
SPIED.
Steve
Yeah,
is playing.
yeah. I thought I saw his name.
Yeah, say that's your mom, your stepmom. That's our favorite. That's our
Yeah,
favorite.
that's why. Yeah, that's why I saw that.
He's
I
our
was like, oh,
he's our favorite, and I like Rory. But
yeah,
Spieth is our favorite. He's 4 shots back. But I mean, they're still trying to make up. They're finishing the third round this morning, and then they're going to try to finish this afternoon and get everything done. Hopefully, they don't
yeah,
have to tomorrow.
yeah. That's what I heard was the weather, and like I said, I worked all day yesterday, and um, so I haven't been catching up on my sports like I usually do.
Well, I mean, and
I
then the
just
Super Bowl. The Super Bowl starts. I apologize. I haven't even shaved or anything today. I'm just,
how
I'm
dare
kind
you?
of a mess. I didn't go to church today, actually, because I'm stayed here with your stepmom.
Right.
But um, the Super Bowl comes on at 6:30. An afternoon of commercials interrupted by a football game.
Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody's talking about a close game. I don't think it's going to be close. I think the Taylor Swifts are going to be. It's going to be the Taylor Swifts 27, 49ers 13. I can't unsee the Baltimore San Francisco game. I can't unsee it. So
Yeah. I feel.
Kansas City's defense is as good or not better than Baltimore's.
Yeah.
So I
I
don't see.
I'm not kind of the same way. And the Chiefs just get it done. I mean, they just get it. They know how to
Well,
get it done.
I, I I feel bad for 31 teams in the National Football League because they don't have Mahomes. As long as they can keep enough people healthy on Kansas City and Mahomes stays upright, they'll win the Super Bowl because
Right.
nobody else has. The only quarterback that I've seen come close to beating him Now, Buffalo's beaten them a couple of times in the regular season, but in the playoffs, that's Burrow. And Burrow can't stay healthy. So
Right.
that kind of eliminates him.
Right. Well, let's get into
because spring training starts in about 3 days.
Well, some teams already reported.
The Dodgers in San Diego, because they're going to Korea to play
right
a couple of games.
And also the rookies and signees are there. I've seen highlights. It might as well say spring training started because I've been seeing highlights of everybody already showing up. They had Francisco Lindor with all the taking ground balls, and all of them were wearing their, like, the shortstops were all wearing their gloves, and Lindor was wearing the two-handed mitt that you use for practicing picking up balls two hands. So I thought that was pretty interesting seeing. We all used that in high school ball practicing.
Yeah,
two hands. But officially it starts for most teams this week. I think the
Tuesday or Wednesday. Tuesday or I think it's Tuesday.
Yeah, because most of the dates are like the 18th and 19th.
Because they said, I saw an article where they said Baltimore was 3 days before their spring training started. And that was
okay. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, and I probably most of the players are down there already. But yeah, I've already been seeing highlights of players taking ground balls, pitchers getting loose, people talking, interviews, a lot of names coming up for being extended contracts. I'm wearing my Mets hat because I'm always keeping an ear to the ground on the Pete Alonso situation. Hopefully, it sounds like they want to extend him. I hope they do. But we'll see. But any movement this week, Dad, that you see?
Well, I mean, Clayton Kershaw signed. He'll be 36 in March, and he signed a 1-year contract. He's always signed 1-year contracts the last few years, but he signed another contract, and he won't be pitching until the second half of the season because of last year's surgery in his shoulder. And then I thought this was pretty cool by Kansas City. They signed Bobby Witt for 11 years, $288 million, $288.7 million, which means that he'll probably retire in Kansas City. And I did see a little interview with him, and he just said where he lives and everything out there, it's just the best place in the world to have a family. And
I remember in the 80s, if you were a free agent, that was one of the hot spots. They're in St. Louis because you're in the middle of the country. Traveling was
Kansas
easy.
City. It's from what I understand, the suburbs around Kansas City and that have some of the best schools. And,
right.
And they have a lot of things, amenities that a lot of the ball players like.
And they really like the travel because you never really get jet lagged. It's easier.
Right. You're right in the middle.
Right.
You're not flying from LA to New York to play. You're flying from Kansas City to LA or Kansas City to New York.
Right. The only thing they hate, back then was, the artificial turf that did summer was so hot.
Yes. That was, 100 and some degrees.
They changed that now. So, it's a little bit of relief for them. They play more night games now than then.
Right.
But, that's all changed now. Travel, these guys travel in luxury everywhere they go, most time chartered. So they really don't care about that anymore. And anywhere they go, they can pay for their kids to go to the best schools. So.
Oh, sure. Oh, and Corey Kluber, he's going to retire. He announced his retirement.
I did not hear that, but yeah.
He had 13 years in the majors. He won two Cy Youngs with Cleveland. Houston signed Altuve for 5 years for $125 million.
That caught my eye because I was like, that's their poster boy. I don't care the cheating scandal, whatever. It doesn't matter. But that's their face of their franchise is Altuve. People that love Houston love Altuve.
Right, they said there are two priorities now. They're trying to sign Bregman, and then they probably won't have enough money. They'll only be able to sign the big guy or
Alvarez
or the right fielder.
Kyle Tucker.
Kyle Tucker. So
I would.
I'd sign Alvarez. You got to have that.
Sign Alvarez. He does it all with a bat. I mean,
you got to have that bat. And Austin Hayes, Baltimore won his arbitration case. He's going to get $6.3 million instead of $5.85. More news on Baltimore in a moment. Carolyn Goodman, the mayor of Las Vegas, told the A's to stay in Oakland. Well, this is what's happened. The city of Las Vegas offered some land up on the north part of the city for a ballpark. They want to go on a strip. The people that the Oakland owner is associated with that wants to build a stadium in Las Vegas, they want to go on a strip. They want to tear down the Flamingo or one of the big gambling places and put it right there on the strip. So that's a little bit. So the mayor's not happy about that. Then she found out from the mayor of Oakland that the owner of the A's kept saying, "Well, we can't get a deal with Oakland."
And that's
Oakland offered them the land that they wanted near the river or near the water somewhere. So she said, "You're not doing the fans of Oakland right. Stay in Oakland." So now, of course, the commissioner's involved, and who knows what's going to happen now, but there's a fly in the ointment, let's say. And what I read was that the commissioner would like the team to move to Oakland. I mean, to move to Las Vegas.
Oh, sure.
They would like to have a ball. They would have to have a major league team in Las Vegas because they got the hockey team and they got football.
Yeah, so even the WNBA does well there. There's not an NBA team there, but there's a WNBA team there. So the NBA is next. They're going to be coming there. Everybody wants a team there.
And Portland is putting together a proposal to build a new stadium and that up there because MLB has said they're going to expand 2 more teams, and Portland wants one of them. But there's a lot of cities that are, Raleigh's one of them, bidding for it, want to have a team.
Yeah,
there's a lot of we'll see. I'm like you. I mean, that's just going to water it down more. They can't find enough pitching now. So now you can put 2 more teams. That's crazy. But anyway, Gary Sanchez signed a 1-year, $7 million contract with a player's option for the second year in Milwaukee with the Brewers.
He'll just be a DH there.
They are they're talking about possibly doing something with the All-Star game because the Olympics are in this summer in LA, and the Major League Baseball players want to play in the Olympics. So now they're talking about doing something with the All-Star game, and that's a lot of fans are upset about that. Texas, they signed Adolis Garcia to a $20.25 million 2-year contract. Supposed to get $14 million the first year, $20.25 the second year. And of course, he would have been the I think the most valuable player of the World Series if he hadn't got hurt and missed the last 2 games. Vlad Jr., he won his arbitration. He got $19.9 million as opposed to $18 million. Cincinnati signed Jonathan India for
and his little brother did sign with the Mets. So
yes, and Jonathan India signed a 2-year deal with Cincy, $3.8 million the first year, $5 million the second year. Baltimore had 2 more procedures on the elbow of Felix Bautista, but he's still planning on coming back at the beginning of 2025. Now, this is going to take a minute. This is about Baltimore. This is what's going on with Baltimore. I had made a huge error. I made the comment on here several times about how I mean, not Baltimore. I'm talking about the Washington Nationals. About how the owner wants to sell the team, but he was keeping the Caps. I forgot completely that 2 years ago he sold the Caps to the guy that owns the Wizards and the WNBA team. And that's the guy that wants to buy the Nationals. But here's the holdup. When the Nationals, MLB wanted to move the Nationals to Montreal, the Expos to Montreal, the problem was that they were within 90 miles of another major league city, Baltimore, and they could cancel the deal. So they had to sit down and work out a TV deal and all this stuff. So they made the deal with what is now Masson, the two Masson stations. Baltimore gets 90% of the profit the first year. The Nationals got 10% the first year. After that, they got 1% more each year. Now they've gotten to this point where the owner of the Wizards and the Caps and the Mystics wants to buy the baseball team, and he also owns Monumental, which used to be NBC in Washington, and that's where the Caps and the Wizards and the Mystics are on. So he wants to buy them and put them on the Monumental channel. And that's where the holdup is. There's a big holdup about that. They didn't explain what the holdup is, but that's where the holdup is. And I apologize for not having my facts straight.
Yeah, because because it almost became a team in right outside of Richmond because of that 90-mile contract stuff, because Richmond would have put them right outside the south side of Richmond, out of that 90 mile of Baltimore or whatever.
Yeah,
they were going to be.
I had heard when that first started, all that stuff, and
they were going to be in Chesterfield.
Well, they were going to be where the old Best Buy used to be, the toy
Cloverleaf Mall. Yeah,
old Cloverleaf Mall. They were going to tear all that down and put a big ballpark up there, right, and have deck parking and all that stuff. But they sell. That is what's holding up the sale.
Right.
I finally found out. I got a hint on it, and then I went in. I just looked into it, and that's so that's where they stand on that. The other thing is that Baltimore, their trade with Milwaukee for Corbin Burns, and the two prospects that went, the Hall and the shortstop, the pitcher and the shortstop that went to Milwaukee, now makes Milwaukee. Those two guys make Milwaukee's farm system the second highest rated farm system now. They were seventh, and with those two guys, they're now second. Number one, still Baltimore.
Right.
And it's not.
Well,
and the article I read said it's not even close with all the people they.
E.L. Hall most likely will make the roster sometime.
Well, from what I understand, the shortstop Milwaukee's playing him at shortstop.
I don't see why they wouldn't. I mean, Ortiz is his name. I'm trying to think who their shortstop is right now, and since I can't remember it, I don't know.
Where did the guy go that they got from Miami? Remember didn't they trade and get Wandy? I mean, didn't they get a shortstop or an infielder from Miami?
I know Milwaukee also signed Rhys Hoskins. So
yeah, well, he's going to play first. From what I understand, he's going to play first. But I think this kid, they said they penciled this kid in to play shortstop, and so I saw him play a little bit for Baltimore last year. But like you said last week, there's no room for him. I mean,
where is he going to play? I mean,
they got Gunnar, played shortstop and played third, shortstop, second base. He sold a popcorn, turned the lights on, and
Jackson Holiday is going to play second. So what we're going to do?
That?
Jackson Holiday.
Yeah, Jackson Holiday.
Or he might move him to third. I don't know.
Well, see, Jackson Holiday in the minors played shortstop. So what they're talking about is putting him at short and Gunnar at third.
Oh,
I don't know who they're going to put at second.
Yeah, because I thought I saw Jackson playing second, but
maybe if he can play second, that's the place.
But I know Gunner can play multiple positions. So.
Right, and Gunner.
I mean, most time if you play shortstop, if you could play shortstop, that means you could probably play about any position.
On the field, including right field, like the other shortstop in San Diego.
Right. I mean, that's you're usually the best athlete on the team. That's you could probably relief pitch. So that's not. I'm getting pumped. I started seeing, like I said, highlights this week of just people taking ground balls. Just got me fired up. People wearing shorts, and I'm ready. I'm ready.
Here's another thing, and this is. I'm an old guy, and I'm not a big fan of social media. I'm not on any of the platforms. I have email, and that's it. I have email on the computer on the computer, and that's it. That's all I have. I don't have any of the other stuff. I don't even text. I got a little flip phone. I don't even do that.
Mm-hmm.
But people on social media, but the Dodgers, Yamamoto, the pitcher, they just went to camp. They showed on, they showed on their website, the Dodger website, all the players out there warming up.
Mm-hmm.
And they showed the pitchers in the bullpen, and they showed Yamamoto out there throwing. Immediately after that thing got on there, a ton of people came on there. Oh, he stinks. Did you see how he threw? They're going to light him up. He can't pitch. He's horrible. It was the first bullpen section for this guy. The first bullpen session. What? And they're all screaming on that he's horrible. I mean, I'm going, oh my word, what?
And I just watched a thing, and I watched a thing with Trevor Bauer about you don't go 100% every bullpen session. Like you go out there, you might work on a pitch or something, but you never throw 100% on a bullpen until you're like 2 days before your start.
Well, I mean,
get geared up.
The first practice, nobody's going to go all out on the first practice. You'll pull something.
Right.
I mean, come on. I mean, the troglodytes that fill up the with all of it on the social media, who think they know more than anybody else. I mean, fine. I come on here and have a good time because I know I don't know everything. I know a lot because I'm just old, but I don't know everything. But I mean, to come on and criticize somebody when they're taking their first bullpen session, to me, just is a little bit over the top.
Right.
But I mean, that's what they do. I mean, it's, they'll come out there. Oh, Mahomes is not as good a quarterback as they say he is because he threw 2 completions last game. I mean, they'll say anything. They'll say anything. It's just
well, controversy sells, and everybody loves that.
And unfortunately, everybody's an expert. It's just.
When we first started this, I was always through a disclaimer. We're just 2 guys chatting we just like the game. We don't claim we know it.
Yeah, and we point out things that we see.
Right.
Now, I'm just like anybody else that watches. I watch a lot of sports, and I have all my life, so I know a lot about it. I've coached basketball. I've coached baseball. I've coached slow pitch softball. I know a lot about the sport, and sometimes when I watch games, I will be critical of coaches and officials because I used to umpire baseball too and slow pitch softball. But I'll be critical because I see things and I don't understand why they did it. I'll say, why did the manager switch hit for a guy that's just had 3 hits? Something like that. And his switch hitter will go up there and strike out, and I go, well, the other guy could have done that. What did you do that for? It's something just obvious stuff like, oh, I'm going to go for it on 4th down instead of kick a field goal. And then you wind up losing the game. I'm going, what are you doing? Take the points. It's just that's the kind of thing I say, but it doesn't make me an expert. It just means I'm observant.
Right.
Hey, if you don't kick the field goal and you make it on 1st down, then I'm the dummy. But I mean, that's the kind of thing I do, but I don't, not after I see somebody throwing a football like people watch the pro. They'll come up now with the combine.
Mm-hmm.
So you got a bunch of guys running around out there in their underwear.
Yeah, underwear Olympics. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the underwear. Spring training or whatever you want to call it.
They call it underwear Olympics. Yeah.
It has absolutely nothing to do with football. The only thing it does is show you how fast the guy can run and how agile. You can watch his footwork and things like that. With the quarterbacks, you watch footwork, their release point, things like that. That's what you watch. But it certainly is not. It's not football. And so, for people to sit there and I don't watch it because I watch the times of the 40s. I want to see, and watching a lineman in a 40-yard dash is asinine. How many linemen are going to run 40 yards in a game? Zero. So it's how quick he is. I like to watch the agility drills with the lineman because that's what tells me whether the guy can do his job or not. And then when they do the blocking sleds with the hands and that, I like to watch that. But a straight 40-yard dash for a lineman, I mean, really. But in baseball, I watch a little bit of the spring training when it starts, but I don't really start watching a lot until they're 2 weeks in. Because by that time they're playing games and all that, and the guy,
I like to look at the reports of like who's doing what, and
and I want to see after they're 2 weeks in, you see the young guys, what they think of the young guys. Right. How many of them are staying on the front field and not going to the back field.
Right.
So
how many number 97s you see?
Right. And you're going to have a bunch of 97s when they're playing because they got to pitch. You can't burn your pitchers up in spring training. So,
right.
134. I mean, the Yankees have retired so many numbers. I don't know what they're going to have fractions. It's just.
Yeah. Yeah. I that's what I like to do too. I'll sit there and watch a little bit. I'm really interested in the what you brought up with the minor leaguers, that set of that week of games there. Just to see a highlight of the future players of each team. And that's a little bit because of my hobby as well, but also I like to watch that. I'll watch the futures game. I like to see know who the up and coming players are just because it's interesting.
Right. You can, because it's like I said before, unlike college football, where you can watch college football and then when you go into the draft, when they draft somebody, you've already seen the guy play maybe 2 or 3 games, maybe more if it's from one of the prominent teams. So you got an idea. But in baseball, they draft a kid out of high school or New Mexico minors school, and you never saw him play. So this being able to see him in spring training and in these future games and now in this little tournament they're going to have will give you some idea of what they've got. And
right. I mean, I do watch college ball too. I mean, college baseball starts this weekend coming up. So
yeah, they've already started softball.
So I think some baseball has started already, but I'm thinking of UVA. So, and some Wake Forest. I think I live 5 minutes from Wake Forest.
Well, UVA is playing Hofstra or somebody
Friday.
At home. It's raining like crazy up here.
But then they go down to Jacksonville for a 3-day.
They're going to play Wichita State and
the Shockers, Auburn. They got 3 tough games down there. And then I looked at their schedule, and I know many people watching this probably don't care, but man, if they get their 20-25 wins, they deserve to go to Omaha and be in the playoffs.
Well, the other thing is too, they play in the ACC. In the ACC,
like
the Southeastern, the ACC and the Southeastern Conference in college baseball are powerhouses.
So Wake Forest is preseason number 1, and they do play Wake Forest at home this year. So, because Wake
North
Forest,
Carolina's ranked,
yeah,
Duke's ranked, Florida State's ranked, Miami is ranked. I mean, I think Clemson might be, just outside the top 25.
Right. So I just and then they're going to play. So Virginia, then their midweek games. So if people don't know how college baseball works, you play a midweek game, and usually you play a local school, one that's probably a lower division, just to get your underclassmen some playing time, and then you play your conference games on a weekend. You'll usually play a 3-game set Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Your number one pitcher pitches Friday, second pitcher Saturday, and then you do whatever on Sunday. That's how most college baseball works. And they're midweek games, and this will mean something to people that know college baseball, especially in our area. They're playing VCU, they're not playing
and William and
Mary, JMU, and I'm like, these are all baseball schools. I mean, Virginia has good baseball schools. If people don't know, we have a rich baseball area in Virginia. A lot of the Uptons, Wright, Mark Reynolds, Verlander, the relief pitcher in Milwaukee, that's from South Boston. I can't think of his name right now. There's players that come from all over the state for years. Well, Zimmerman played at Virginia. He's not from Virginia, so. But it's rich history in the state, and I know we're a little off topic. Well, we're talking baseball. College baseball is part of
college baseball.
I love college baseball.
College baseball provides a lot of players to the major league teams.
After they tweak the bats and everything, where the ball just doesn't leap off of it like a trampoline now, you're getting a more realistic. Yes, they can hit it off of different parts of the bat, and it still carries, but you don't have to get it square like you do a wooden bat. But
well, see, the other thing that bothers me a little bit is that when I read where they were going to have the Latin American tournament, which is going on right now, it's been going on for a little over a week. Mm-hmm. I thought it'd be shown on MLB or something, but they're showing it on ESPN Plus. So I already paid $48 million a month for cable. I'm not getting that because I'm not paying any more. I'm a retiree. I'm not paying any more than I am now.
Right. Well, I mean, I have all that is just it's like the Latin America World Series type.
Yeah. Deal. Yeah. And it's, Dominican Republic and Cuba and, Mexico, Panama.
Yeah.
I see the scores. They flash the scores on the bottom of the screen, but they're not showing.
Right. I mean, I love they played in the winter. It cost the Mets their rookie guy this year. He's going to be out for the season because he blew his ACL playing
winter ball. Oh my goodness! Who was that?
Ronnie Michiano.
Oh yeah.
He played. He came up at the end of last year. He was supposed to be their second baseman this year. Move McNeil to third. Now they're gonna come back, and McNeil's going to be back at second. Bay's going to be at third. So Ronnie, he blew his ACL out, so he's out for this year. As soon as I saw that, and it was just one of those plays where he rounding first, stopped, turned, he fell to the ground, grabbing his leg. So you knew what happened as soon as it happened. So, but they got Diaz back closing the game out. So, and I've been seeing videos of him pitching already down in Florida. So I'm happy about that.
Well, I think
which was a freak accident in WBC in the preseason last year.
Well, see, that's another thing. I keep reading, everything. When I look at the baseball news, I see the Dodgers, the Yankees, and the Mets. That's the first three things you see, because that's there's the teams. The big market teams. That's who they're going to look at. And it looks at the news. And a lot of the Mets fans were complaining because the owner didn't spend money to go out and get players. I thought, didn't you learn anything last year? I mean, really?
Well, it's not done yet. There's still some big names out there. But
oh yeah, the Cubs told Boris when Bellinger has no place else to go, come back and see us. But they're not going to pay him $200.
Yeah, and that's part of the deal. I was kind of hoping we could get Rhys Hoskins and all of this stuff or Soler, but about the Mets. So if like me, they showed Ventos, who was a rookie last year. He went up and down a couple times, but they put his numbers out besides Soler if he would have played a full season last year. I know it's an if, not an exact science, but they compared their numbers. There won't much difference, and that's who they're going to have DH for him this year.
That's fine. It'd be better than the guy they had last year.
Well, they compared. So Vogelbach was their main guy, but he didn't play all the time. So they put him. If he would have had the same at bats as Lindor, his numbers would have been comparable if that averaged out the whole year.
Well,
but you can't say that because there's got to be a reason why he doesn't face every pitcher, right?
Well, Vogelbach started hitting the ball after with a month and a half left in the season.
Well, Lindor started hitting.
He was 0 for July.
Right, and they need consistency at that. Well, all teams need that. The way hitting is now, so it's an ebb and flow, and I know pitching. And I've said this before. These guys go out there. It's an art now. They have all this background on every hitter where their weaknesses are, and you get maybe one ball a night, right, to square up on. And if you get more than one hit a night, you're fantastic. And most people go 0 first on quite a few nights. But these pitchers now, they don't take an at-bat off. They're told to go out there and go hard. And once you run out of gas, we'll pull you and put the next guy.
Put somebody else in there. Yep.
Yeah. You don't have that at-bat, this guy that comes up that only hits. The only way he can hit it out of the ballpark is hit it from second base. You don't have that anymore. You don't have a guy that sprays the ball around. So you're not really, if he gets a single, who cares type of deal, But they're out there. But they're not like what it used to be. You
right. Well,
when the ninth place guy comes up and can hit it out just as well as the fourth place guy, he might just bat 200. That's the difference.
Arizona played a little bit of that last year. They played some small ball.
Right.
Arizona didn't wait around for the 3-run homer. They played some small ball.
Well, they're a scrappy team.
Yeah.
They have a lot of speed and they play to their strengths. I'm interested to see if that team could rebound. Everybody's kind of putting them as they're not putting a lot of faith in them this year as a rebound team. Like
I saw on MLB, they kind of had a prediction like where everybody was going to finish, who was the favorite to finish. And I think they had them second or third. They had second or third because, of course, the Dodgers are first. But they had I think they had San Diego second and Arizona third, or maybe it was Arizona second.
I've seen the Giants second, too.
Really?
Yeah.
Because they had the Giants fourth.
Well, they've made some moves and re-signings. So the Giants they're another team. That ended up being a strong division if you look at it at the end of the year, right? At the final numbers. It was a lot tighter division than everybody expected it to be. Padres made a run. The Giants fell off a little bit. The Diamonds made 2 runs in the season. So the Diamondbacks made a run all-star break and after. Then they fell off, and then they made that final push that went into the World Series. And that's what it's all about, is when are you hot, right? They were hot
the end of August, early September, they fell off a cliff.
Right. And then they came roaring
They were actually
back.
out of the playoffs for a while.
Right. we're sitting there looking at the numbers because remember us, and we'll do that this year because I love look base. I tell people always ask me why do they play such a long season, and I go, well, it's a game of numbers, and if you play that many games, the numbers pan out. The numbers tell the story, and they got to be real numbers. They can't be made up numbers like war. I can't stand that crap. I sat there and looked at that war number is off of made up numbers. It's not, and then you got to have a degree from MIT to figure it out. You know, I know how to do batting average. I'm gonna stick with that and on base percentage. You taught me that at an early age, so I stick with that. I've been keeping a book since I was probably 7 years old. So
Yeah.
Score books. And stats.
We used to go to Richmond. We used to go to Richmond Braves games and
Yeah.
keep score.
And I used to keep the score books at Little League games for little extra cash when I was a little kid, young preteen to teenager. But anyway, that's why, that's why we do the numbers before at the beginning of shows and all that stuff, and look at players and stuff like that. And I mean, hopefully we continue that this year. I'm just excited for the season. It just feels like it's here. My buddy Mike always says, you know, the Super Bowl marks the end of the NFL season, but it marks the beginning of baseball. And man, is he right? And it's just, I'm eager. And we record this on Sunday, and I release it on Monday. I'm eager for the Super Bowl to be over with. I'm tired of hearing about it. The game. I don't care. I love sports, but I hate this. I don't care about this game. The Chiefs, 49ers, don't care.
Well, I don't.
We'll watch it because it's a Super Bowl, and I watched every playoff game. I just don't care.
It has become such a major production.
Yeah.
That it takes away from the football part of it.
Right. It's going to be a 5 hour.
Now, the football part of it now is secondary.
Right.
And it's been that for about 25, 30 years.
Seats are $20,000. It's just.
Oh, yeah. The cheapest seats were like $1,300.
Right. And I mean, you know, I'm just.
Hotel rooms in Las Vegas, $1,500 a night.
Right. And it's just, to me, the whole week now is, you know, it's been 2 weeks before the game. I like that they do the awards and all that stuff. I mean, I like how they do. I like how the NFL does everything.
Yeah, baseball could learn from that.
Right. Yeah.
Having their awards scattered out all over the place is ridiculous.
Right. And they do the you know, their big weekend. Thank goodness they got rid of their Pro Bowl and they just have a Pro Bowl weekend. And the NFL is a promotional machine. They just know what they're doing. And I wish ML, like you said, take notes. And I wish if you're going to do something in the mid-season, take a week or two off, and that's when you do the WBC or the Olympics, whatever it is. It'd be more fun than the All-Star game to me. Now you done took away that the funnest part for me was the pregame when they announced the players in their uniforms and they were all on the line. Now they look like they're wearing matching pajamas and they're going to play a game. I hate that. I hate it.
Well, and it's just like the National Hockey League when they had the Winter Olympics, and some of the hockey league would playing from all over the world.
Yeah,
playing for different teams. They just shut down the league for 2 weeks.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, they shut the league down for 2 weeks. Big deal.
Yep. But you know, we'll see what's going on. Any closing thoughts, Dad? I mean, I've just spewed my closing thoughts that I'm just excited for the season.
Yeah, I'm ready to go. I got to take off my Iowa hat and put on my nurse's hat or my cleaning lady's hat, something. I got to put an apron. Go back and take care of Mama.
Right. Yeah. I hope she does better. Get some fluids in her.
Yeah, she's sick. I mean, she's really sick.
I know how I felt early in the week, and I hope she doesn't feel that bad because I couldn't hardly see. My head hurt so bad. But Yeah, so we're going to leave you with that, and hope everybody is doing well. Enjoy this week. Wish everybody happy Valentine's Day, and have fun with the one we're with. And we'll see you next time. See ya.